The second part of our grilling competition, we invite two members of the industry to subject themselves to some stirring questioning from some of our students who are here. We've asked each of our students to prepare one question for the panel, but we know that they're actually going to have follow-up questions and other questions because this is their industry that they're entering into. So firstly, can I very warmly welcome our two senior members of the industry who have offered themselves up for interrogation, Bob Madden and Bryce Camp. Please make them welcome as they come forward. That was a very weak round of applause, people. Can you try that again? Much better. You have no idea how important this encouragement is for Bryce and Bob, who are going to sit there, share that microphone between the two of you. Well done. Now, our students, ladies and gentlemen, our students, firstly, Tim Russignol, please come forward, Tim. Tim is sponsored by E-Links to the conference, and he is studying a Bachelor of Agricultural Science at the University of Queensland, Gatton campus. Please come forward, make him welcome. Angus Chadwick, sponsored by MLA, is at the University of Sydney doing a Bachelor of Agricultural Economics majoring in finance. Please come forward, Angus. Here he comes. Emily Lyons is sponsored by Alltech. She's at Charles Sturt University doing a Bachelor of Animal Science in her third year. Please welcome Emily. And Stephanie Thompson, sponsored by NSA, is studying at the University of Queensland. Please welcome Stephanie. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Bryce, of course, and Barb are well known to you. They're events committee members. They're long-standing board members of Alpha. Well, not you, but Bryce is. And of course, they're two very experienced feedlot operators in the industry, one of the major players, of course, both of them in the industry. So this is the future of the industry. And I think we will start with you, Tim. What is your first question?
Thanks, Jerry. Just want to ask Bryce and Barb, while we've heard a lot of negative reporting, especially today about the use of drone technology, can you see benefits for the industry by using them in a data collection and analysis sense?
Well, fortunately, Trent from McCulloch Robinson has already spoken about this topic in depth today. Look, I think drone technology, it's here, it's now, and if the feedlot industry is not embracing it somehow, then they're mad. And it's interesting because I've got children, and we were talking about drone technology, and we Googled it. You know, you hop on Google and you look up drones in Australia, and the only information that comes up on our search, this was a while ago, was all negative. So it's all animal activists, it's all fear and outrage, and we thought, well, that's not a good representation of our industry if that's all there is. So I see that there are huge opportunities, and it's up to the industry to actually be able to find them and utilise them.
And Bryce, what sort of opportunities would you see that a drone could fulfil? What sort of jobs could it do?
I think there's a whole sort of range of areas, but one part that interests me, I was up in central Queensland doing some promotional work for Beef Australia a couple of weeks ago, and they had some drones there doing some filming that worked really well. And I was speaking to the helicopter pilot we had there, and he's a horse trainer by background, and he's actually hoping to run schools that it uses the drones in teaching people how to appropriately position themselves with the helicopter and better cattle handling techniques. And so I hadn't really thought of that as an opportunity for them, but it's good.
Tim, you asked the question. Could you see uses for the technology, for drone technology in the beef industry?
I see a lot of stuff recently at uni and whatnot about all the infrared cameras and whatnot, and as far as even going as far as taking up a nil scanning capability in extensive, but possibly in intensive as well, as far as I'm sure there's other people in the room who can tell you more about what sort of data is definitely needed in the office day to day, but yeah, I'm excited to think there is an opportunity there.
And I was just thinking, as you talked about infrared technology, that can detect heat, obviously, so you could tell if you had a sick animal in a pen by virtue of it giving off a bigger heat signature. Would that be right? Or am I just am I just in the realm of science fiction?
No, I'm sure that's something you could possibly pull off, Jerry. It just depends on, I suppose, how much you want to pay for your technology and whatnot. But yeah, I think going forward, that's definitely something that can be done.
All right. Now, the next question, Angus, your question. What is your question?
Thanks, Jerry. My question tonight for the panel is, with China's appetite for beef forecasted to double by 2030, how will Australian processors and feedlotters capitalise on this demand with the dramatically increased production costs associated with the HGP-free products, assuming that they're destined for China? This sort of touches base on the start of yesterday. Will China soften its position when it compares its price and volume differences between HGP and HGP-free products?
That's not so much a question as a mini keynote presentation, Angus, but
Yeah, I was told that.
but I thank you for that because it's very relevant given what we heard yesterday. Who'd like to start that one, Bryce? Yeah.
I guess from my perspective, the customer is always king in terms of deciding what they want in the market. And while, the demand and appetite for beef coming out of China is obviously immense, and I think we have recently witnessed, some developments in the HGP sort of issue in that sector that I think our industry is managed through very well. In my mind, if that customer base wants a HGP-free product, then in our operation system, we're happy to provide that. And at an appropriate point of view, pricing point. And I think, as the escalation of demand that we're seeing coming, and particularly out of David's speech 2 days ago, then that pricing level, I think, will be well driven just from a supply and demand side of things. I think on a greater HGP debate and globally, I think we do, the wider industry and the pharmaceutical companies behind these products, it's about getting that messaging out to the average consumer. And I think, China has a position, I would largely think, because food safety is a massive issue and they don't want another Malamine case or any issues around food safety. And hence, with a product that we all know is very safe and comfortable to use, in the food source such as HGPs, it's just, it's a risk avenue that China would easily, eliminate, I think. But I guess, the Jeff Simmons report of feeding the nine that sort of coming out of Elanco, I think is, it's an exciting place of where those companies are now looking to say, we have to, get these messaging that these technologies for improving production are well valued and are safe.
Barb, do you think that we can feed China's demand without the use of HGPs?
I think following on from exactly what Bryce has just said and from what David Thomas was saying yesterday, China is just such a rapidly growing economy, and if we are not supplying, then we're missing out and somebody else is going to supply them. So I just think there are opportunities there, and as Bryce said before, if they want a certain product, and I think we would be wise to supply them with that product.
That's a good succinct answer. Angus, what's your own view on this as a student and going into the industry? How do you view the whole China demand thing and the production constraints and costs that are associated with it?
Well, I guess the main thing with China is not so much they want free, like HGP-free products, but more so no traceability of HGP. So it's just got to, and then there's a few processors out there that'll offer a premium for HGP-free products, but then you've got to look at the product that hasn't got the implant, if it's going to be able to gain the same volume and get the same price that you're going to. So basically, the volume that the HGP gives you, like the extra volume, the premium doesn't actually quite make up. So you're probably better off putting in the HGP and taking the lesser price, or it's just sort of like, if what you want to balance it up.
You are studying accountancy, aren't you?
Majoring in
Majoring,
finance.
yep. I figured that much. Well done, Angus. Thank you for those questions. Emily, what is your question?
Thanks, Jerry. My question is, does the Australian beef feedlot industry have strategies or incentives in place to expand the global market and create greater exposure of the potential Australian beef has to offer? And if so, how successful are these and where can they be improved?
That's a fairly broad question, Emily. You did well there, girl. Barbara's thinking.
I think marketing beef, marketing Australian beef is probably also encompasses MLA. So MLA plays a pretty major role in providing that opportunity to us Australian beef producers. I think more broadly, as an industry, if we are to market ourselves successfully, we need to be ensuring that we have, robust QA systems. Our animal welfare is top notch. Our environmental practices are, second to none. It's all of that quality and the high standards that goes into all of those aspects of feedlotting that I think more broadly works towards providing a better brand and a better marketing potential for our Australian beef.
I guess, the industry does invest a lot of money in marketing, and the largest portion of our levy spend goes into the marketing programs through MLA. I think the industry over time has, there's been a number of programs, and I think of the Aussie Beef campaign into Japan that revolutionised that market and really our industry here at home. And I guess, I see as exciting as the work that MLA is now doing around the true Aussie and the new sort of global standard labelling that will go out to really sell that product Australia. And I think we've heard numerous times through this conference how important it is to have that brand Australia image backing up a suite of major brands that are out there playing in the market.
Are we consistent enough, though? We tend to jump from one campaign to the other. Some people might say we lurch from one campaign to the other. Do we need a consistency across all of our marketing activities in order to maintain a certain level rather than looking for the odd surge here and there? Okay, so
I guess I think that global positioning of the true Aussie logo, and rather than the sort of individual country logos that Australian product has been sold onto currently, will improve that step. And I guess we've got to be aware of the different market segments, or within those markets, and traditionally why those various brands or brand logos specifically existed.
Yeah. Emily, what's your own view on this? Do you think that the industry is doing a sufficiently good job marketing itself to the world? And if you think of what else do you think it could be doing or should be doing, perhaps?
I think out of this last couple of days, everyone's taken out further incentives and whatnot that we can do to improve the Australian industry, but I think we're definitely at a good place to start.
What have you taken away from these past couple of days? What's been for you the standout thing that you've learned here?
Probably the China market.
Yeah.
Definitely seems to be a big player at the moment. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep, that's very exciting, isn't it? Those first two presentations yesterday morning. Now, Stephanie, I didn't say what you studied because I didn't actually know what you studied. Would you mind sharing with us what it is that you're going to become an expert in eventually?
I study a Bachelor of Applied Science, majoring in Animal Science and Agribusiness.
What are you hoping to do with that?
Probably more the agribusiness side in the marketing we've heard about just then, but sales and trading, that side of it. So yeah, I'm in my 4th year, so I graduate this year.
Very good. So your question.
So as I look to the future of this industry, how are you creating opportunities for enthusiastic young industry professionals to be trained to promote the feedlot industry for someone like myself who's graduating, or like others here who still have a few years of uni left?
Stephanie is concerned because she's graduating this year. So she wants to know, what are you doing?
Already chatted with Stephanie about a job, so that's good. Look, I think it's imperative that any industry, it's people that drive it are always the most important factor, and I think it is conferences and associations such as Alpha to drive that process that's really important. When I look across the feedlotting industry, it's just so great to see a young, vibrant group out there, and I think you look around this room and you look at our young lot feeders today, there's so many that are running multi-million-dollar operations, and they're under 30, and there's not too many other agricultural sectors that I think have the presence of young people within its ranks of hierarchy. I think that's important. But it's a continual renewing process. I think even with Alpha as an association, I'm very fortunate that its leaders had the foresight to sort of go out and select younger people, and I was to have that opportunity to get involved in the process and the future of the industry. And so I think that's refreshing. I probably, from my side, coming from more the extensive cattle side of the ledger, I don't see that commonality of as many young people, rising through the ranks quite as quickly as you do see in our sector. But in saying that, it is always an ongoing thing. I think the student membership side of things that we've opened up with Alpha, I think Maddie is doing a fantastic job in really getting our industry's presence out amongst universities, not just the rural ones, so that people start to understand that there is definitely a solid career path here, and there's some great people involved in it.
Barb, there's not a whole lot to be said after that.
I know, that's exactly right. I think Bryce has articulated that beautifully, which she did. I was nodding, thinking you've done that's exactly what I would have said.
Yeah.
I probably have just a couple of comments, and I think it's about, and I heard it yesterday, that there's talk that young people are leaving agriculture. And I really take umbrance at that, because I think I'm a young person, even though I'm not as young as these guys, but I am a young
You're just a pup.
who is in this industry, who's excited about this industry. So let's stop saying everyone's leaving agriculture, because actually they're not. Because you look at these fantastic young lot feeders that came through today, articulate, bright, fantastic ideas. And educated, and that's exactly right. And that was the other, like I sat at the JBS Swift table last night and I looked around and I thought, what a fantastic group of young, excited people happy to be in this industry. And my other issue, or the other comment I was just going to add to Bryce's was, our business, actually, we began a trainee manager program back in 2003. So we were looking, and every year since then, we have employed a graduate, not unlike any one of you. And we had so many quality applicants last year that we actually put on too. And they are just fantastic, young, enthusiastic, educated people who are the future of our industry. And it's what Tess Herbert said last night in her victory speech that she gave. Alpha and this industry is just such an embracing...
nurturing.
Collaborative, nurturing. It's all of those things. And you talk to other people in other industries and it's highly competitive and we don't share.
Correct, yeah.
And I just see you young people, if you really want a future in the feedlotting sector, it's there for the taking, and embrace it.
And Steph, as you are about to graduate this year, how are you feeling about your future in the industry? How optimistic are you?
I'm looking forward to the future of this industry, and obviously very enthusiastic about the future of the industry, and I think there's a lot of opportunities. Through my degree I had quite a privilege. I went to Indonesia to look at the beef cattle sector over there, and then I did a research project actually on watermelons, but we went over to Singapore, and looking at the whole supply chain over there, and I know we just spoken about marketing, and in Singapore there's a lot spoken about that they don't think we market our products as well as what we could. And I thought that was a real eye-opener that I guess as I go forward, to be able to market our products in a way. And I know that we are the clean, green, environmentally friendly country, so I think that's a real important part for our future.
Let me just leave you with this final question, each of you, about how you see your future in the industry and how optimistic you are. Emily, we'll start with you. We'll work down with Angus. And then Tim, how optimistic are you? Can you see yourself having a future in this industry?
Certainly hope so. My main focus is genetics and nutrition, so I definitely feel there's room for that in the industry for now and in the future, because I think genetics, you need genetics, but if you don't have the nutrition behind the animal, then there's no point. So I definitely think that now and in the future, that hopefully will play a role. Hopefully in my future career and all these guys too.
Good. Angus, how optimistic are you?
I'm pretty confident that something could eventuate. I mean...
something could eventuate or will, Angus?
Oh, it will.
Yeah, that's it.
No, I hope it does. I've studied ag echoes at Sydney Uni, and I could have done anything below
and
that.
Why did you pick ag?
I had two older brothers that did it, but that's not the driving force. I grew up in a country, New South Wales town, and my dad has interest in feedlotting, and I've worked in a livestock division at one, and yeah, so I really enjoy it, and I like the economic side of it all as well. So that's where the finance comes in, and the economic side of the ag course. So
good stuff. Tim, how about you? How do you see your future in the industry?
Growing up, I never thought I'd be in this sort of situation, coming straight from Brisbane, but I wanted a challenge, and I was lucky enough, fresh out of school, for Bryce to give me that challenge. So I definitely started at the bottom there, driving the pen scraper around and round and round for days. But I do look up, and I want to push myself, and yeah, I'll keep going as far as I can in the
Bryce
industry.
likes to experience everything in the industry, starting with the scraping job. Yes.
Definitely, yeah. I've
And
got a
he
great
will keep
idea
you
of
there.
scraping.
He will keep you there as long as there is shit to be scraped. Seriously, you are looking forward to a good future, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's looking around the room and seeing fellow young people like ourselves, and the opportunity the Alpha gives everyone to come along to these events, and like BeefWorks last year, BeefEx this year, and there's so many new things to learn every time you turn up, and so many great people to meet. So yeah.
And you are the future of the industry. You are awesome, you four. Please give our panel a big round of applause. And also thanks to our industry elders, the young Barb Madden and the equally young Bryce Camp. Give them a round of applause as well. Thank you, guys.